Alright YouTube, I am back with some more Air Talks Total War, and this is going to be another What Could I Have Done Better episode that was sent in by a viewer, which in this case looks like Eleanor. And he's playing on the Numuwaza map, and this is going to be a Follow the Samurai playback, which is going to be challenging for me because Follow the Samurai is certainly not my forte. But I think I have some good constructive advice for him, and I'm sure that some of you watching this video can also give some good constructive advice. So let's do so. So Numuwaza map, this one is probably match made, maybe not, but we do have key buildings, and the key buildings is farmhouse here on the other side of the lake. You got an archery dojo and a shrine right here in the middle, which means that this area is going to be absolutely critical. And if we look at the build of Eleanor, he's got 3 elite infantry. One is a shogunate guard infantry, and then he's got 2 marine units, 1 U.S. Marine, 1 Royal Marine, both with extended range. He's got 2 Red Bear infantry, which are cost effective. His general is a melee general. And then he's got a Yari Key here, rank 2. That's not a bad unit there, cost-wise. Now his opponent, though, has a lot more cav, and he's just brought a pretty diversified army here. He's got a bow key, which is going to give him range, and this map really does look flat, but check this out. If you get down to ground level, your line of sight is going to be obstructed all over the place. So 150s may or may not be a good idea on this map because, see, look, you're going to have to get into spots like this where you really can take advantage of that range. And then check this out, right over here on the other side of the shrine, again, a hill blocking those woods. So, you know, it's definitely interesting terrain. You can see here's a Yari Key. His general's a gun general, looks like right now, with some leadership traits. He's got an extended range Royal Marine as well. There's a Red Bear here. Another Red Bear there, Saber Cav, here Red Bear, there Red Bear, everywhere Red Bear. Another Saber Cav, Black Tortoise Force. So you'll notice that one thing that I think Eleanor's done right away is he's sacrificing all the dojos. He's not putting any pressure on those dojos. And there is a Cav unit hidden in this forest that can come charge his men. He doesn't have a lot of Cav units because he spent more money on elite infantry units. Whereas his opponent has a cheap bow key, which is going to be able to put pressure on him. And again, check out the line of sight over here. It's not a perfect line of sight. There's little mounds. So the bow key is going to be an advantage here to be able to fire from 150 range, not having to worry about line of sight issues. And I'm pretty sure they get a volley off here, and I'll let you all see that. So Eleanor is moving up to try and put some pressure on his opponent. His opponent is in the process of capturing all dojos, and look how easily the bow key can fire and retreat. 9 kills. Easy. And his 150 range unit right here, probably not the best positioning, because if you look, when I push the range thing, you'll see that this shrine is blocking really his range, not allowing that to be super effective. He does have a range advantage right here, but if you look, again, line of sight can get tricky, and all his opponent has to do is just kind of move in behind the shrine to get hidden. And the shrine, all 3 dojos are now in control of his opponent over here. So Eleanor's got a real issue. He's getting picked apart by Bocav, and he's got to push forward against an opponent who now has the shrine and also has the archery dojo. He needs to uncap at least one of these dojos, in my opinion, before he makes an all-out assault. Now I'm going to go ahead and pause it for just a second. Let's talk about maybe what he could have done better. I don't really like his army setup, to be honest. I think he's got too much elite infantry. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. FOTS isn't my big deal, but I think he's got too much elite infantry. And if you look, this elite infantry over here is being held back by a much cheaper force. There's only 1 elite infantry and a few cav units in this area holding back 2 elite infantry and 1 regular infantry, and it's just not going to work real well. Whenever your opponent has a cav advantage, one thing I would suggest that you do too is move your troops forward in a checkerboard formation, kind of like the Romans did in the Acer Triplex. Leave some spaces in between the units, and then always have a second and even a third line if you can. And when you move your troops that way, it's going to make it so that an opponent who has a lot of cavalry, even though they may come charging at you, you're going to always have a second line to put fire on that cavalry and quickly kill it. I think in this case, on this particular map, that Eleanor may have been better off to come a little more cav heavy like his opponent, because now his opponent is going to have some easy advantages. All he's got to do, in my opinion, is for his opponent to use one of these line of sight issues like right here, and just for a second catch a unit off guard. He can get a cav charge in and then move his infantry in at the same time, and while his cav is keeping Eleanor busy, his line will be able to shoot up Eleanor's line, and then all that extra money that Eleanor has spent on elite infantry is going to be wasted. let's see how this plays out, and we'll just try and give him some advice as we go. As to how he could win with this particular army, I think that there's certain places where he's wasting too much attention. Because of this hill here, and if you take notice of the map, and this is always easier said when commentating than when playing, but this Royal Marine is completely blocked, and he'll stay blocked. So what he should have done was maybe just left a red bear here to face, and maybe positioned about right here to where those Royal Marines have to come all the way up and over that hill, and their 150 range would be negated. So I would leave like a red bear right here and another red bear to support it. And then I would leave my cavalry unit over here as well in order to try and fend off cavalry coming through your red bears. And then I would have taken my elite infantry and made the push here in waves, and use your general to support them, and your elite infantry probably could have cut through these cheaper infantry and cavalry. But it's going to be tough again because Alinor is going to have a hard time defending against enemy cav. He's got 2 cav units of his own though, so if he just keeps 1 Yarkey with this flank and 1 Yarkey with this flank, he can do his best and use the shrine as a pivot point. Now, quite cleverly, Alinor did get his Royal Marines in position to try and take this dojo away, but again, this would probably be a job that's better filled by a red bear. And I say that because these little line of sight spots through the shrine, sometimes the guys will get shot, and the last unit that you want to get shot up is your Royal Marines. It's a very expensive unit, and look, he steps out here, and he's probably just barely outside of range of these red bears across the way, so he got lucky there. These Royal Marines did open fire though, and racked up 23 kills on his shogunate, on his U.S. Marines. So again, just accidentally missing that line of sight, and he's kind of in a wasted position. If an enemy cav unit charges here, he's really not going to get great shots. And then also his flank is open to this cav unit that's hidden in the woods, albeit he does have his own cav unit here. It's just that by the time that cav unit attacks, he's not going to be able to react in time. Again, those are just my thoughts. Let's fast forward and kind of wait and see how things play out. You're going to see his opponent cleverly using this bow key to provoke an attack. So if you watch, his bow key is going to keep moving around. It's going to come up, fire, retreat, and see it's going to start getting volleys in, and look how it starts to shred up this red bear. A bow key is a pretty cheap unit. He does have some upgrades on this one, so it cost him a little bit, but it's already up to 94 kills. And he did accidentally get his bow key shot here, which is a huge mistake. Be more patient than that with your bow key. And right here also, this tip of Alinor's Marine unit starts to catch some red bear infantry. So Alinor gets a few good shots there, but he's also taking a lot of damage. Like, he's down like 70 men in this red bear unit, and look at the kills start to go up on this bow key. It has really ended up being worth it. Okay, so here, this is what happens, what I was saying here. Alinor took advantage of a moment when his cavalry could get in with relatively few shots being taken. Or, not Alinor, sorry, his opponent. Now Alinor is in bad shape. He's got Yariki and Saber Cav into his infantry, and his opponent did exactly what he should do, which is moved up his own infantry to support the cavalry engagement. So at this point, Alinor is in big trouble, because his guys are getting pushed here, and the enemy infantry can move up and shoot his own infantry while they're bogged down with his cav, and this is going to end up being a cost-effective exchange. You're going to see elite infantry getting killed right here. These Royal Marines are gone. These Red Bears are getting hurt pretty bad, and his United States Marines are down 50 men from different engagements and got pushed back. And here his United States Marines take another volley all the way down to 118 men. He's going to throw in a Yariki here, which is otherwise a decent idea because these Red Bears fired, but look, the general of his opponent is right here, and it's going to trash this Yariki, and he's got this line set up in a checkerboard, just like I said, so he's got supporting fire. So Alinor's Yariki is going to get absolutely shredded before it can do a whole big bunch of damage. Alinor did move up his infantry here, though, and did exactly what he should, which is take advantage of that moment, hit your opponent while you've got him in a good position. I mean, you sacrifice your cav, you might as well get up here and make it worth it. Unfortunately, that's just a Black Tortoise force, and so its damage wasn't as painful as it could have been were it one of his more expensive units that has already gotten killed out here. Now, his United States Marines finally in a position where it's firing, and it's doing pretty well. It's already racked up 157 kills, but now his general is in trouble. He had to use his general to get rid of this Yariki to keep it from threatening the U.S. Marine. This U.S. Marine ripped up that Black Tortoise force as expected, but it's still taking some flanking fire, but that's okay. He's got his own Black Tortoise force putting some hurt down on these Red Bears, but I mean, the damage is pretty much done. These U.S. Marines are getting towards the end of their life here, and his general just took a pretty big thrashing. Now, some of you might be, hey, that turned out alright for Alinor, but remember, his opponent has got some units hidden. Alinor does have a Red Bear that came back. So as you can see, I think in this case, probably unit selection might have been Alinor's biggest problem. His opponent picked a very diversified army here, and he's got a lot of ways to support it. One of the best ways to fend off cavalry strikes, melee cavalry strikes, is to use revolver cav. I hate it. I think it's cheap, but it works. And to be honest, if you're trying to play the game and win, it works. If Alienor had replaced, you know, like maybe not brought, again, so much expensive infantry, maybe just brought like a Vermilion Bird Force to support some Red Bears, he could have used revolver cav, and when an enemy cav charge came in, the revolver cav will just shred the melee cav, and then you can use it to push back if necessary against the enemy once their cavalry is dead. That's one thing you can do. Again, it's not my favorite tactic to see used, but by gosh, it works. And again, look at the line of sight stuff here. This Black Tortoise Force protected by this mound. Don't assume a map is flat. Look at that Boki still just going at it here. Boki's up to 276 kills. Talk about cost effective here. So again, this is how a cheap unit can become very cost effective. So don't underestimate these kind of units, but at the same time, they're not an end-all, win-all. You know, there's ways to take Boki out of the fight as well, but if used cleverly by the commander, they can be very effective. Now this untouched Royal Marine's going to move up, and there's going to be little that Alienor can do to resist. That Yark he had hid in the woods comes out at the right time, screens for his Royal Marines, who come up and just absolutely lay it down on these Shogunate Guard infantry. These Royal Marines are just going to absolutely mop the floor with those Shogunate Guard infantry. They just hit them with suppressive fire as well. You can see the Boki still firing over the top as well. Impressive volleys coming from those Royal Marines who take no return fire, and that is going to be the end of the game for Alienor. Let's go look at the stats. Down there in the comment section, again, leave your constructive criticism and feedback for Alienor. Tell him how he could have done better. If you think I got it wrong, tell him why you think I got it wrong, and let's give him some advice here. Let's give him some tips on his Fall of the Samurai game. I know there's a lot of good Fall of the Samurai players out there. I'm not the best. And to be quite honest, it's easier to commentate than it is to play, period. I mean, that's end of the story. It's way easier for me to tell you what you did wrong than it is for me to do what's right. And that's evidenced by the difficulty sometimes that I have in winning online battles recently. But I will do my best, and like I said, if you all think I got it wrong, you can tell me, by all means. Let's take a look at the stats. Look at the Boki kills from his opponent. 300 kills from 80 men. Unbelievable. And then, of all things, his Black Tortoise Force was next. Yariki. His infantry really didn't even do that well. His Royal Marines came into the fight late, but got 91 unanswered kills, so that's always worth it. Alienor's Marines did end up getting a lot of kills in the end, but they got shot up and just kind of got in the wrong position. But you'll see that the rest of his units just weren't cost-effective, really. So, like I said, please give him your feedback. Hopefully I've been helpful to you, and I hope you all like this new take on Air Talks Total War. What could I have done better? So let's tell them what they could have done better. If you have your replays that you want to submit to this, look in the description. It is airtotalwar@gmail.com. All one word, no capitalization. Again, look in the description. Hope you enjoyed it. Heir of Carthage, signing off for now.